History, arguably the single most important cultural property. It is the great unifier of all societies, from classical to contemporary. It is happening all around us, every second, every minute, every hour of every day. A conspiracy of coincidence. It creates the contextual understanding of events that affects our lives. If we are vigilant enough, we can witness it happening. If we are keen enough, we can make it happen. By understanding it, we can alter the reality of the present or change the trajectory of the future. For without history, we are without purpose. We are without identity. Welcome to the gray area, where we examine history in hindsight. February 1st, 1788, Isaac Briggs and William Longstreet patented the steamboat. 1790, the U.S. Supreme Court convened for the first time in New York City. 1842, in New York City, the City Dispatch Post began operations. It would become known as the United States City Dispatch Post. 1861, Texas voted to secede from the Union. 1865, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln signed a joint resolution submitting the proposed 13th Amendment. 1867, in the United States, bricklayers start working 8-hour days. It is where the 8-hour workday originated. 1884, the first edition of the Oxford English Dictionary was published. 1893, Thomas Edison completed work on the world's first motion picture studio in West Orange, New Jersey. 1913, Grand Central Terminal opened in New York City, New York. It was the largest train station in the world. Today you know it as Grand Central Station. 1919, the first Miss America was crowned in New York City. 1920, the first armored car was introduced to the public. 1951, the first telecast of an atomic explosion took place. 1951, the first X-ray moving picture process was demonstrated. 1957, P.H. Young became the first black pilot on a scheduled passenger airline. 1960, 4 black college students began a sit-in protest at a lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. They had been refused service because of their race. 1968, during the Vietnam War, South Vietnamese National Police Chief Brigadier General Nguyen Loan executed Viet Cong officer with a pistol. The scene was captured in a news photograph. 1979, Patty Hearst was released from prison after serving 22 months of a 7-year sentence for bank robbery. Her sentence had been commuted by U.S. President Jimmy Carter. 1996, Visa and MasterCard announced security measures that would make it safe to shop on the internet, beginning the e-commerce boom. 2003, NASA's space shuttle Columbia exploded while re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. All 7 astronauts on board were killed. 2019, U.S. President Trump confirmed that the United States would leave the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty of 1987 due to Russian non-compliance. Russia suspended its obligations to the treaty the next day. But rewinding all the way back to 1926, what is now known as Black History Month was first celebrated on this day as Negro History Week, coined by none other than the esteemed and revered Carter G. Woodson, and it became a month-long celebration 50 years later in 1976. You see, history, much like time, waits for no man. It is ultimately up to us to decide whether we choose to make it or be the reason we repeat it. However, no matter what side of it that you stand on, you can only learn from it by looking at history in hindsight.